You know, when you think about life-changing books, your mind probably jumps straight to the self-help aisle, right? But what if I told you that the most profound transformations are actually hiding in novels? Well, today we're diving into an incredible list from Times Now that highlights 10 fictional stories that have the power to do just that. I mean, it's a huge question, isn't it? Can one story, with fictional characters and a made-up world, really truly leave a permanent mark on who you are? We're about to see how the answer to that might just be a huge yes. This quote really gets to the heart of what we're talking about. See, it's not about some dramatic overnight metamorphosis. Nope. It's about that quiet internal shift, the kind that happens when a story gets under your skin and makes you see the world and maybe even yourself in a completely new light. All right, so let's start with one of the most basic human needs we all have: connection. This first batch of books is all about how reaching out to other people can be this incredibly powerful force for healing. A lot of the characters in these stories start out feeling totally isolated, whether it's because of their past or just by choice. But what we get to see, which is so amazing, is how one single, often unexpected connection can begin to tear down those walls and completely change everything for them. So you've got Eleanor Oliphant, a character who is so sure she doesn't need anyone. It takes these persistent, simple acts of kindness to even start chipping away at her defenses. And then there's Anxious People, which uses this one chaotic event to pull back the curtain on everyone's lives, showing us that, hey, we're all just trying our best to deal with our own hidden battles. And these friendships, they can get wonderfully weird. I mean, in Remarkably Bright Creatures, it's an incredibly smart octopus that helps a woman work through her grief. An octopus. Meanwhile, The Traveling Cat Chronicles is partly told from the perspective of a cat, and it's just this beautiful, moving look at loyalty and being grateful for the connections we have. This idea of creating a home for the peculiar, I just love that phrase. And it's perfectly captured in The House in the Cerulean Sea. It's such a heartwarming reminder that family isn't always about blood. It's about finding the people who see you and accept you, magic and all. The story really shows how empathy is the key that unlocks everything, tearing down prejudice to build a real community. Okay, so we've seen how connecting with other people can be a game changer. But what about our relationship with ourselves and our own goals? Well, this next set of books gets right into that by asking some pretty tough questions about what success really means. Look, we're all kind of handed this script, right, about ambition and climbing the ladder and what achievement is supposed to look like. But what happens if that script just doesn't feel right for you? These stories are all about what happens when characters decide to rip that script up and write their own definition of a good life. And what's so cool is we see two totally different ways of doing this. A Psalm for the Wild-Built is almost like a warm philosophical hug. It gently pushes back on burnout culture and that constant pressure to be doing more. Then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have Lessons in Chemistry, a fiery, brilliant story celebrating a woman who doesn't just push back, she completely blows the doors off the box society tries to put her in. This site is really cool because it breaks down the central struggle in Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. So the book is about this decades-long creative partnership in the world of video game design, and it constantly plays with these two ideas of success. On one hand, you have the typical view. Success is a destination, it's all about ambition, and failure is the end. But the book champions this other, more profound idea, that real growth comes from the journey. It's about the creative process, working together, bouncing back from failure, and always getting a second chance. All right, for our last section, we're going to look backward. So many of us get caught up in the what-ifs of our past. These last two books have these incredibly creative ways of thinking about our regrets and how to make peace with the past. And this is where it gets really powerful. The core idea here is that you can't go back and change what's already happened, but what if you could change the power it has over you today? That's exactly what both of these novels get into, each in their own totally unique way. Just imagine this, a library that exists between life and death. And every single book on the shelf is a different version of your life, one that would have happened if you'd made a different choice. That's the incredible premise of the Midnight Library. The main character gets to explore all these what-ifs, only to learn that the grass isn't always greener, and to finally find value in the one life she actually lived. The rules in Before the Coffee Gets Cold are just brilliant. You can travel back in time at this special cafe, but, and this is key, you can't change what happens in the present. Oh, and you have to come back before your coffee gets cold. This makes it so clear that the point isn't to fix the past. It's all about going back to a moment to see it differently, to gain some new understanding, and to find the emotional closure you need to finally move on. So, we've talked about connection, we've redefined success, and we've confronted the past. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? I think it's that each of these stories gives us a unique blueprint for growth, a brand new lens for looking at our own lives. And this table really lays it all out. Each of these books offers a truly unique lesson, whether it's about the healing power of simply connecting with someone, the guts it takes to defy what's expected of you, or just finding peace with the life you actually have. There's a profound idea here for everyone. Think of this list less like a reading list and more like a toolkit for reflection, just disguised as 10 amazing novels. So really, the only question left is for you. Which one of these paths, which one of these stories is calling out to you right now? Your next chapter might just be waiting for you inside one of these books.